So this one will of course depend on internet, and your machine processing power. So here we are seeing very many templates. So you can say you want to choose a web application, a console app in Visual Basic, or a console app in C. So let us stick to C# and say we want maybe to just which one can we? Let us just click next. Click next. We just want a console app, and then name your console app, maybe console app 1, and choose a location. Click on this navigation drawer and choose a location. Okay, I'll use ASP.NET here. Click 102. I select there. So after that, just click next. And then here, there are two choices. I think I discussed the issues related to the long-term support and standard term support. I advise you to work with the long-term support because mostly these ones are more of the prototyping and things that will be again reviewed in a very short period. So you really want to work with the long-term support. Leave the ones as they are the moment, and then just say create. Again, like I told you, hey, we need to buy better machines. Hey, Edwin and Paul, you continue laughing. I'm going to do
It's me, I'm fine. But I can't use Visual Studio because it was discontinued for Mac.
Hey.
Yeah, so I can only use the other option.
Oh, so again, the project is here if you want to navigate through. It is opening by default the C# file, and you can still change here. You can change here and then run your code. So make sure you save. I think this one doesn't have the autosave.
So here there is no building, you just run.
Yeah, just run this. I think it has an auto build inside. So you can run this. Car wash.
Neda sebo. Neda bami. Zijasoka.
You'll be the first one to contribute. You say that just
Hey, we've lost him. No, we are very few on the call. Where are the rest?
Edwin wetuli.
That was
Sozi.
that wasn't necessary.
Sozi, eh? Aya.
He's not mute. Microphone isn't working. You need a spare computer. Enzo bawampisamu eggaali mwe temumuwulira.
That is how Mr. Kajimu's laptop behaves.
It's suffocating.
Visual Studio package ina nga 20 GB or 19.
Yes,
Like that.
it's so heavy, that's why.
So heavy.
Naye Fadi nena pia sikuoniziwo eh.
Your PC has help. Inagondi. Ulira inagondi meka. Manye.
Gwe wasiibye gwe. Ng'onyonya entalo. Hajati ayokeza dda naawe.
But does one need that Visual Studio to program ASP.NET and C#?
Can use VS Code.
Okay.
Space tulina space chichigwe. Obuzibu bwaki? Byonna tulina.
She took 2 hours to download it.
I've heard Edwin be saying, I hear my laptop. I'm back.
Nedda.
Remember, I'm on another device. I've been hearing you.
Nedda. Nekulikayo, we welcome you back.
So, but I think you've got what I anyway wanted to show you. So when you click that run button, you should be seeing this output. My laptop is not that very slow. I only had opened many applications, and actually I had opened 2 consoles from Microsoft Visual Studio. So otherwise it could handle this. So my output is here. I don't know if you guys have yours. Yeah, so you can go through this document that I've shared and you read through the .NET CLI.
So the output
Look
is
at
supposed to be in command prompt, not Visual Studio.
Because it is a console app. You could also start up a web app and view it in a browser like Google Chrome or Edge, yeah? You could create a new app, but a web app.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
There is where they say open a container in Docker. I don't know.
Why Docker this time? You man. You haven't eaten the food that you have on the table. You want Docker? Yeah, you man.
I was
Docker is
seeing it on my side.
the DevOps engineers. Let us first focus on the little thing that we really have, because we don't want to talk about things that will scare some people here. You might have a concept, but I think Docker is not here now. Not at least in this same lesson today.
Mr. Blasius,
Yes?
from last time what you explained, the difference between ASP.NET and C#. So my understanding was that you said ASP.NET is a framework.
True.
So is the framework building the console application or it is the C#?
It is the framework.
Okay.
It is the framework.
Okay.
The framework has C# inside it.
Yes.
Yes. So you will write C# inside this framework.
Okay.
Yeah. So please look at other commands in your free time, including the project management, how to add packages, how to remove packages, do the restore. You can look at the help and look at anything that you find there. Maybe something important to understand is that since C# is a compiled language, the compiler it uses is called Roslyn. It uses some base class libraries that help in providing APIs for common tasks like collection, file operations, and networking. What else? It also uses a hybrid technology which is called just-in-time compilation, just like Java does. What else here? I think the next thing for us is to now embark on understanding the core language, the C#. We need to understand all these. And it's only you guys to tell me if we can start the C# today or we take water for the whole week. But remember, the project is on your way, is under your way. So the earlier you start these things, the better. I'm only here to guide, not to teach.
We start.
Uh-huh. No, there is no module where you can digest everything. I would still, it again comes back to the instructor. So some course outlines, actually, they keep on writing the hours here. And somewhere you could see maybe like 8 hours, 9 hours. Have you ever seen such guidelines? I mean, such course guides. But you see that the 8 hours are just handled in 1 week. But you keep on asking yourself, 1 week we have a lecture which runs for 2 hours. Now, where is the correlation between the 8 hours and the 2 hours? The whole idea is that during the class, I introduce the concept, I guide on where to find the reading resources, the learning resources. So if this 1 week, week 1 was dedicated for 8 hours, in the 2 hours I'm guiding you. I'm just guiding you, introducing the concept. Then the most learning is done by you as you find the 6 hours within the week. So that means that if you just concentrate on only using the 2 hours here, then that means that all these concepts cannot be learned by you within that small time. So that's why I'm clearly saying that you may not be able to cover all this entirely, but we shall be maybe introducing a concept and then I tell you that you go. So it's also taking your zeal, dedication, and of course, positive mind to learning to cover. But I can also say, even if you do that, you really need that end in mind that I want to be very good in C# programming, even after the semester. You can keep on, doing that thing. So ideally, there is no course unit that you will cover in the semester fully, and you understand and you say, I'm now a C# developer fully. No.
I'm now a senior.
Senior. That is why you need things like internships. So if you have to cover everything in class, why even would you go for internship? But even you could do hands-on during class time, right? Why do you still need the internship? Because they know there are things that are dynamic to industry and you actually don't have time to cover them during class. So that's the whole story about that. So tell me if you guys are tired. It's okay. We can still come very well prepared now for C#. If you say we can push for the next minutes, yeah. Let me see the voting. Who is Abyabakama?
Of course, it is Edwin.
But Ivan is not corrupt.
So just put the
I think the
one,
lecture is left with 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
one
No.
hand, one hand. They 15.
Yeah, the 15.
Let, let us see. I think you're raising two hands. Okay.
So this one is for what? Those who are tired.
No, this is
If
for
we
those
reach
who want
like
to
12
study.
people,
For what?
then we can proceed.
For people who want to continue studying.
Eh.
I know you can't raise your hand.
By putting up hands and releasing them. Anyway, let us maybe talk about this syntax briefly, and then we shall build on that. No problem. So the good thing, we had a simple discussion last time, and we realized that C# is an object-oriented programming language. I hope you remember. We now want to look at its syntax. I would refer you to again two resources. You can look at the 3 schools, yes, but also the C# tutorials point. I'll share the PDF for that, but you can still download C# tutorials point. There's a PDF, I think, downloadable. If you can't find it, I'll please just remind me. I'll share it in the group. It is also good. You can just compare. So there's a code in that PDF that I earlier shared, the week one. This one here. Let me just discuss this one at least. Let me discuss this code. C# has an entry point. Every C# language starts its program with a main function. Comparing to languages such as C and C++, and I think Java, they also have entry points as main function, but that main is not sentence case. This is sentence case. So the main there in Java would be lowercase m, then main. Same thing with C and C++. But in C#, the main is sentence case. Capital M, then the rest are small or lowercase characters. So our C# program enters here. So without this function, if you try to run the C# program, it won't, because the definition of this program in its header file, it starts with this function. Doesn't mean that you start writing code here online because someone now will wonder what the reason of the others are. But this is like the trigger that this C# can run. Now, let me talk about line 1. Using is a keyword. And it is a keyword that tells us that use a system of namespaces. Use a system of namespaces and classes. So if I, for example, don't include this line, that means that I should come here before console and I write this same keyword. System, the way it starts also with an uppercase. So I write system dot console dot write line, then I put whatever I want to output. So every C# program ends with this semicolon, just as like languages such as Java, C, C++. C# lines also end with semicolon. Class is a keyword that defines that this is a class name. So our class name here is program, and classes have functions. Now, I think we shall reach a better time of discussing maybe in depth what a class is, but just to give you a hint, a class is more of like a blueprint of the objects that could be created. It's a blueprint of our program here, but it can have classes. I mean, it can have objects. Now, on the other hand, an object is an instance of this class. So one class can have different classes, different objects. But of course, we can have different classes sharing data if we want to use a concept of inheritance. So for example, I can have class program 1 to extend and use some data and methods of class program 2. That means that the other class program 2 is like a parent class. This one, program 1, is like a child class. That's ideally what that means. But classes have their body enclosed with curly brackets. So on line 3, you have the body of this class starting there, but doesn't mean that you could not again introduce this curly bracket on line 2. Immediately thereafter, this class name program, you could put the curly bracket here. The code won't still have a problem. Actually, you would be now saving the number of lines that you are writing. But sometimes this is a better way of writing because it looks like a cleaner code or more readable code. On line 4, okay, sorry. Yes, the body of this class opens at line 3 and it will close at line 8. So you open, you close. Now moving to line 4, you have static void main. Of course, I've already said that main is a function here that is an entry point of the C# program. That is the use of this statement that program.C# contains the entry point of the application, right? But what about the static keyword here? Static is only telling us that make sure this function main is only accessible in this class, but not the class, not the objects of this class. So main function is only accessed in the class program, but not inside the objects of this same class. That is why it is static. Space, there is void. Void is what is supposed to be returned with this function. So you say void, you are trying to relate to which data type is supposed to be returned by this function. Assuming I said int main, then I should make sure I return integer type or whole numbers. Now with void, even if you write the function return or you ignore it, the code will still run. So I think you guys, you can look more in depth why void is normally used, but that's the point. Most programmers will explain it in a way that this function is returning nothing. It returns nothing that is related to the data type. Whether the function will return a text, integer, float, it will still return anyway. Otherwise, if you say int, this function you say int, and again you say you want to return something, yet you have not said that return something as a function to end this function, it will complain. So once you say int here, then you have to make sure you have a return key word inside here in the block of the function. So just after or just before line 7, you have to say there is a return function. Someone is saying that thanks God for us who opted OOP, makes life easier. Yeah, I would say everything has its own advantage and disadvantages. So yes, Ronald, you have now an idea about the OOP concept, but maybe you don't have enough idea about the HTML and what CSS. But that's why we actually now need to work within groups so that you can help someone who doesn't have the knowledge of OOP, and then also they help you in the other. Okay. When I talk about what is inside here, the parentheses, because normally these are called the parameters, and you can have maybe more than one parameter, parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, when you're trying to prototype or even define functions. In this case, because main is an inbuilt function within the C# language, it is not, it is a predefined function. It is already defined that the parameter name to use here is called args, and args in full is arguments. Now, whenever you give a parameter here, optionally, you can give the return type of this argument. So the type of this argument is going to be string arrays. String arrays. And this is by default. So even if you don't write this, the code will still. Otherwise, in the definition of C#, still inside the main function, they're already defined, and you can read the documentation and find more on why this is like this. At the moment, just understand that this is a parameter which is called args, and its type is string array. Arrays are not data types. Arrays are more like data structures that can hold different elements but of the same type. So I'm like having a memory block, and I say my memory block is having strings in each of the blocks. So that array will be a string array. If I wanted to just give characters, then I could say character arrays like that. When we move to line 5, it is the body of this function, main. Like I told you, on this line that you could save your space and push this curly bracket here. You could also push the curly bracket on line 5 to line 4, save space. See what the code will run, but it is just opening the body of the main function and also closing the body on line 7. Console. Console is a module in C# library that accesses the method write line. So you're accessing using this module console, and you're accessing method write line to output. So you're writing specifically and saying that after this statement is displayed like hello world. Of course, forget about the quotes because C# will ignore or will remove. C# will remove the quotes and you won't see them to just show you hello world. So here, it is like telling us that I will display hello world, but anything after hello world, I should push to the next line. That is why I think if you want now maybe to push another code here again and say, after line 6 and say console.write line in parentheses also, and then maybe you say I'm fine. The I'm fine will now go to the next line. Otherwise, there is another function, I think, if I don't forget, it is called just write without the line. That means that everything will be staying on the same line. Otherwise, one thing about C# as a programming language, it's very case sensitive. So make sure if the keyword is starting with uppercase S, you don't change the narrative. If you change the narrative, you write this one in lowercase, yet it's supposed to be in uppercase, you will have errors. Yes, I've seen this in the physical class. People were making mistakes as they write. They write, then I say write, then the L here is lowercase, and then things don't run. It is C# is a strongly typed language. It is a statically typed language. You need to declare the data types before you use. It is also very case sensitive. Yeah. So with this, I think we can kickstart next class and everything can move well. I want us to have maybe 1 or 2 questions before we leave this class. I may have been rapping, yet people were read the laws, things like that. I mean, but you can ask where not clear.
I'm fine. Me, I'm fine.
As long as it is fine. You, I think you should help your friends, eh?
I told you Paul already helped us.
Who? But and Ronald, you also said that you already did Java, so you should be at a good place now, right? For now.
Yes. Maybe on a personal note, anyone who can admit me in any of the groups, if at all they have, because I've just joined.
Yes, please, Paul, engage that person.
Anyone with the any, because I see we are like around 16. If at all there are any that are not yet full, I can do it. I'm free.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
have another lecture.
now
with Mr.
you're
Nkoloogi.
meeting. Actually, let me leave the meeting. You discuss your Emunteka meeting yamwe.
Tulina lecture endala, tulina omusomesa omulala ajja.
Tusobola otandikira wano.
Is the same.
Emunteka mu meeting yamwe Muzaffar.
We can start IoT right now.